WWE must avoid this mistake with Jey Uso at all costs in this video. I am pleading with WWE, do not do this right now with Jey Uso, because Jey Uso is a week away from defending the Intercontinental Championship against Braun Breaker. It's a rematch, if you will, because Jimmy Uso has watched his brother Jey go on a unbelievable run. And Jimmy, well, he's kind of fallen on the wayside. Now, I understand that he recently turned babyface and now is aligned with Roman Reigns as they continue their fight with the bloodline. But Jey Uso, he's done big things on his own. He has shown the haters, he has shown the supporters that he can stand on his own 2 feet, not just become a tag team guy, but in fact can be a singles guy. And not only just a singles guy, but can be one of WWE's most popular stars that they have under contract across Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Jey Uso has done wonders in 2024, building on the momentum in which he did in 2023, showing that he can be a singles guy if given the opportunity. Now, he's had questionable booking, there's no doubt about that, something in which I've been critical of, whether it be countless coming up short in his pursuit of championship reigns, whether it was falling short to Gunther for the Intercontinental title earlier this year, or falling short to Damian Priest for the world title at Backlash, or not capitalizing and getting it done in Money in the Bank. Countless other opportunities falling at the wayside. But they finally did it. A few weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, he beat Braun Breaker for the IC title. A shocking finish to me and a lot of people, considering that Braun had won the title from Sami Zayn at SummerSlam, had beat Sami Zayn, who did really good as the Intercontinental Champion, in a rematch on Monday Night Raw in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And honestly, I thought Braun was going to have a long reign as champion. But that wasn't the case. They put the title on Jey. Now, I've really enjoyed the storyline with Jey and Braun, and I think they're going to do wonders. And in a minute, I'll get more into that. But as I was looking at this week's episode of Monday Night Raw, what happened? What happened? There's a backstage segment where Jimmy was trying to plead with Jey, just listen to him. He wants to apologize. He wants to make things right. Because, of course, Jimmy, he turned on his brother. He cost Jey multiple big-time wins, right? Including the IC title to Gunther on Raw, heading into their horrific WrestleMania 40 match. Both guys would tell you that match sucked. They were cut short on time. So what is this major mistake that they have to avoid at all costs? Well, it's simple. You cannot put Jey back in a tag team with Jimmy right now or the next 6 months. Don't do it. That's not to say that Jey can't be IC champion and have an alliance with his brother. That's not to say that Jey can just be a singles guy. Say he dropped the title to Braun, next week, and have an alliance with Jimmy. Have an alliance with Roman. Because I see that's where they're going. I mean, it's pretty clear, right? You're going to have Roman, you're going to have Jimmy, you're going to have Jey. The big question is, do you have Cody or do you have Sami Zayn as the 4th guy when they go up against the bloodline of the Tongas, Jacob Fatu, and Solo Sikoa at Survivor Series and War Games? It's just a matter of time before Jey comes home and aligns with Jimmy and Roman. But do not make this a situation where, well, Jimmy needs help and Jimmy needs to be in a tag team and Jimmy can't survive on his own as a single, so let's put him back in a tag team with Jey. I don't want that. I don't think Jey Uso fans should want that. I think that's a major mistake on WWE's part. Jey's proven that he can be a singles guy. Jey has proven that he has earned the right to be a singles guy and an IC champion and a potential world heavyweight champion or a WWE champion one day. He's proven that. Don't take that away from him because Jimmy can't stand on his own right now. That's not to say that Jimmy can't have the potential of being a single star. I think he can. But the booking has to get behind him because he wasn't very good as a single star on his own when he was a heel earlier this year and aligning with Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, right? He wasn't very good. And I think that once Jey split away from him, he's taken a back seat and he's been knocked down a peg. But that's not to say that Jimmy doesn't have the potential. But don't cost Jey the run that he's on right now because of his brother. Look, we've seen the Usos for literally a decade. We saw them for a decade. They've done it all as a tag team. Doesn't mean that putting them back together down the road is a bad thing. Look, we saw DX reunite. We've seen the Hardy Boys reunite. We saw Edge and Christian reunite. We've seen it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying that you can't do that ever again. But what I am saying is you've given Jey an opportunity to run as a single star. He's proven you right. He's hit home runs left and right. He's the Intercontinental Champion, a title in which has been restored with this prestige thanks to Gunther and Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker and now Jey Uso. He has the potential to be a world champion. He is one of your most popular stars. Don't cut your nose off short when you're about to give Jey a long run, right? I just hope they don't put him in a tag team. And I would be curious to see what y'all think down below. Let me know in the comments. Do you want to see Jey as a tag team guy or a singles guy? I prefer him as a singles guy right now. Just because we've seen the Jey and Jimmy, the Usos, song and dance so many times. Look, they're one of the greatest tag teams in the history of the business. Arguably one of the greatest modern-day tag teams, certainly. And you could make the case that they are the greatest modern-day WWE tag team in the last 10 years. I think they would hold that honor, right? Maybe the New Day, but they're more of a trio and they're interchangeable parts. Big E, Kofi Kingston, they were a heck of a pairing. But I think the Usos hold that part. What they've been able to do is sensational. Like, we've legitimately saw the Usos grow up in our very eyes, right? We've seen them come up as extraordinarily green guys who had no idea what they were doing in the business and be able to find their footing from it being the wild, wacky, colorful Usos with Tamina Snuka to finding their edge and darker persona, obviously aligning with Roman Reigns, becoming a members of the bloodline, really forming the bloodline, that storyline, that faction, what we all knew and loved. The gold segments that Jey had with Sami Zayn, the Usi segment, like there's so much history that involves the Usos as a pairing, as a tag team. I mean, those brothers are extraordinarily talented, but I think as we sit here today in October of 2024, I think we can all agree that Jey Uso has achieved more and he has more of an upside than Jimmy. And I'm very curious to see, where does Jimmy go in the next 2 years? Not right now, not in the next 6 months, not even in the next year, but where does he go in the next 2 years? Do they just go back to being a tag team? Will he find his footing as a single star? Like, how will his career go? He's certainly not going to get fired or anything, but where does he go? That's $1 million question for me.